I've never been a Dragon Ball fan, but when I was a kid, I'd wake up at 6 AM before school so I could sit my goober-built body in front of the living room TV and watch Dragon Ball Kai on Nicktoons. And ever since then, I've been passively following the series. So when I heard Dragon Ball Super was being made and it was a new canon Dragon Ball series, I was hype. And Dragon Ball Super was garbage, man. I gotta say, Dragon Ball Super might be one of the worst forms of media I consumed of a series that I used to like. But recently I've heard rumors that the manga was actually getting better, so I decided to read the Granolah arc. And I gotta say, it might redeem Dragon Ball Super as an entire series for me. Granolah was introduced as a sort of space pirate, which is nothing new in the Dragon Ball verse, but right off the bat, his design really caught my eye. Granolah looks like if Trunks was in a Dragon Quest world, and he has this Dr. Robotnik ass eye patch, which really makes him stand out compared to the other characters, because I don't know if it was obvious, but Dragon Ball characters tend to be the exact same face with a different hairstyle, without fail, at least on the human side. Granolah's past was also really refreshing, and even though we've seen the whole monkey bad plot point a million times, I still feel like the way this was executed with Bardock actually being fleshed out as a character was fun and not just something I had to skip to get to the fighting. I genuinely think I haven't read Dragon Ball story that was this good since early Dragon Ball Z, and I've actually been hearing complaints that this arc was somewhat hated on compared to the other Super arcs, and I was very confused until I remembered one critical thing. Dragon Ball fans can't read. What could I possibly have been thinking? Of course, it all makes sense now. Like actually, unless you only read Dragon Ball for the fighting, I don't see how you could think this was one of the worst arcs story-wise. Which brings me to the main negative of this arc. The fights were so boring. Like man, those retail BoJack space pirates actually drove me to insanity every single time they were on screen. And don't even get me started on Ass Gas. He might be the most uninteresting villain in all of Dragon Ball history. And the whole cop-out of, aha, we wished upon the Dragon Balls to become strong, was so stupid, cause like, tell me how this puny two-balled, tiny shaft beta dragon can make you the strongest in the universe, but a much stronger dragon can only revive somebody once because it's too weak. Like, come on. And even after Granolah and Gas got stronger, they were underwhelming and always at arm's reach with Goku and Vegeta. And don't let what I just said confuse you. I think Vegeta's power development makes sense and has always stayed true to the, oh, I get hit, I get stronger. But Goku on the other end, well, that brings me to my second main negative in the Granolah arc. So there's a scene near the end of the final battle where Vegeta and Goku are fighting butt-ass stinky Gas and are getting whooped to the extreme. And Vegeta decides to take Gas alone and tells Goku to figure out how to master Ultra Instinct fast. And not even 2 panels later, Goku already has a new form with no real explanation in any way on how he got stronger. What? How? This treatment of new forms and sub-forms is exactly why Super has been so boring and painful to watch for me. And if the arc didn't end the way it did, it might have ruined the arc for me. If you made it this far, please consider taking your pent-up inner frustrations out on those fat-ass loser like and subscribe buttons, baby. They've had it coming for a while. Thanks. The finale of the Granolah arc. This final chapter completely saved the end portion and made me do an entire 180 on how I thought of this arc. So the final chapter starts with Monito, the planet cereal Namekian who raised Granolah, being beamed to the heart by stink booty Gas. And Gas is out here struggling. Dude looking like a sun-dried raisin. Dude looking like the chocolate grandma from SpongeBob. And as the fight goes on, pieces of the dude's face and body just start slowly chipping off in clumps, which is sick as fuck, and honestly one of my favorite scenes from the chapter. And after being picked apart like a zombie, Gas gonna be surprised when Alex said, I traded your lifespan for power. Gas for real gonna say, I'm dying? Like, no shit. You can't feel clumps of your arm flying off at Mach 12? And then, Frieza approaches. Frieza came in rizzed out talking about some I'm that guy and punches a hole straight through Fartman's existence, turning him into a skeleton on some Pirates of the Caribbean cursed cruise shit. And then he crushed his skull. That might be the single hardest scene I've ever witnessed in Dragon Ball history. Not only that, but he pulls up on Alec with the quickness, letting him know what's up, talking about some Sosuke eyes and I've planned your whole life out, bitch. Then obliterates him before one-shotting Goku and Vegeta at full health. Then he takes Alec's chump homies on his chore boys. Bro, That's gotta be the sauciest shit in the Dragon Ball franchise. And Frieza coming in just to flex his new form is the most hilarious shit ever, and it's probably one of my favorite executions of a Dragon Ball form since the OG forms. My final thoughts on this arc are pretty positive. I really hope more arcs are like this in the future, especially Vegeta. I felt like the beginning of Super wasted all of Vegeta's character development in the Buu saga, but I really liked him as a character in this arc, specifically coming to terms with his past and being very mature for once. Overall, pretty good arc. 8 out of 10. Deuces.